Now you probably can't see it real well because I don't seem to be able to get close-ups on this in this video, but there's a lot of little bees, wasps, pollinators, bumblebees, honeybees, native bees, yellow jackets, tiny little things. It's almost too hard to see. I don't know if you can see that bumblebee. Well, I don't like scaring them, so I don't want to get too close. There's a real tiny native honeybee or solitary bee there. Some pretty dangerous looking wasps, but they're all real happy. Occasionally they'll squabble over a flower. Now you can see, I don't know if you can see, but I planted it a little bit close to my blueberry bushes. Now the blueberry bushes are done bearing for the year, but they're not a very aggressive plant, and the mint is a very aggressive plant. So I think what I'm going to do in the fall is dig out most of it that's close, and I'll let a patch continue to grow further away from it because I really value what it does for the pollinators. But I think I'm just going to let it keep going till it's done blooming now, and the blueberries will just have to deal with it for a little bit longer, but I'll pull them back and trim them back in the fall so that the blueberries have a little more space, because they're not an aggressive plant and I want them to succeed. They did grow a lot of blueberries this year, but the birds are very hungry, so they basically ate them all, and that's fine. I'm glad to have birds and bees here. I'm glad they feel safe and comfortable. I think that mint is holding an important place in the ecosystem here because it just gives so much nectar to so many different things, and it seems like however much grows, because I do leave a space for it and I try to make space for the bees to, live. Like if you have to clean up every leaf and stick and stuff, a lot of the bees will not have a place to have a home. Obviously there are some creatures that build like a big nest, like wasps and certain honeybees, but a lot of the bees, they have to live inside of like dry stems or under leaves or inside of a log, or they, something like that. They'll dig a little hole and they live there. They lay their babies and then they come out when it's time. But if you clean up every single stick and leaf and, if it all looks perfect all the time, there's probably nowhere for bees to live. But you can do it thoughtfully if you have to keep things really neat. You can have leaves in certain areas, just sort of use them as mulch, and you can use sticks as mulch, and it doesn't look too bad if you're good at making things look nice. I have to admit I don't always do as good with that as I should, but I make an effort. And then the bees can live, but that's only half of it. They also have to have a place that has reliable nectar, and nectar varies through the season. So if you have things that bloom at different times of the year, you're more likely to have them survive. Now there aren't a lot of things blooming right now. The sunflowers are still going, but some of them are done, and they have their seeds and everything. They've grown them, so the birds are eating them. And there's just not as many flowers this time of year because we're into summer now and things are going strong. But the mint is being a real workhorse. It just produces a lot of food, and the pollinators know they can come here. They're not going to starve to death. They can come here, they can eat, and when they're ready, they can find quote-unquote messy little areas with a few leaves or some sticks or some weed branches, things like that I've chopped down and laid somewhere safe. They can have their babies there, and then next year they can come back, and it can continue the cycle of pollinator life. This is really important because the ecosystem has been having a lot of challenges lately. When people cut everything down, sometimes these little insects don't have anywhere to live, and they die back or they go extinct. And the truth is, we don't know at what point things stop working without the pollinators. Like, we don't know what that critical mass is of too many things have died and now we can't grow fruit, or there's no pollination for necessary things. See, as much as we've studied the world, everything is connected in such a way that we still sort of don't understand how everything works together in every circumstance. So if you have an area where you can let bees live and let other things live, and they can have some food from nature, that can really help preserve a needed balance. We don't know which of these creatures or how many of them are necessary to, like, the survival of things that we rely on